Well, guys, welcome back to Archery Field and Sports. I know you guys are usually used to seeing some hunting videos with us, but now we're going to start doing some product reviews, being that we are a full-time pro shop. We're going to do arrows, releases, bows, sights. So if there's something that you guys want to see get reviewed, put it in the comments. This week we're going to be going over the Scott Summit release. So let's get to it. First look at this thing. It's not too bad. It's solid, feels solid. The trigger itself has a little bit of play out of the box, but I think that just needs to be tightened up. The hook has got me a little worried. It doesn't look very big, so I'm thinking that's going to be a little shallow. We'll play with that later and see what happens. The travel on this thing, to be able to adjust the travel, is a screwdriver hole, which is definitely something different. Usually we see an Allen wrench, but overall, it looks pretty good. Putting it on, the strap seems to be a little short for a guy. I mean, I don't have big hands by no means, but for a guy that's going to be putting gloves on, I think you're going to want to change that strap out to something longer. But let's give it some shots. So hooking on doesn't seem too bad. It seems like that hook's going to be setting pretty good in there. Let's give it a test and kind of see how that travel feels with it. So that thing's pretty crisp. I would say it's every bit as good as most of the $200 releases we sell. Definitely, it doesn't have all the adjustability like them, but for a guy that's just looking at getting into shooting a thumb button release, I don't think this is going to be a bad one for $100. I am still a little worried about that hook, so I'm going to play with a couple things just to test it out and see what happens. As you guys were just seeing there, we tested that release out, did some rotation. I was a little worried that that hook was going to be too small for, if you rotated it back too far to go off, you could almost shoot this thing like a hinge. So I guess we got a thumb button hinge with a no moon. Something different, but you just got to make sure that you aren't rotating too far back in there for the newbies shooting this release. All right, guys, pros and cons on this release. Pros, $99, great release, super crisp. So for somebody that's just getting into it, it's going to be a good release. The cons are going to be little things. The strap is a little short on there for most guys with big gloves on. If you're just shooting out in the backyard, it's going to be fine. The hook on the head. So most guys aren't going to rotate it that far. But if you do start with this release and you're going to start rotating, trying to get that thumb wrapped up in there, if you get too far, this thing's going to go off. The other thing is going to be the adjustability screw. Now that one there, it's not a big thing. It's a screwdriver. Most of the time we're going to be using Allen wrenches, so it would have been nice to see that as an Allen wrench head. But overall, I'd say it's a pretty darn good release for $100. So if you guys like the review, make sure to subscribe. We'll definitely be doing different things: broadheads, sights, bows, arrows, the whole works. So if there's something you guys want to see, let us know in the comments.